If you've ever dealt with pests with your houseplants, you're not alone. And you might be missing out on one of the simplest solutions for pest control: carnivorous plants. But carnivorous plant care is a little different than the care for the houseplants we know and love. So let's dive deep into the world of carnivorous plants. Growing joy. Hi plant friends, I'm Maria. I'm here to help you care for plants successfully and grow joy, and nothing dims your joy more than pest issues with your houseplants, and carnivorous plants might be one of an array of solutions for you if you have a large plant collection like I do. So carnivorous plants are totally having a moment right now. They're gorgeous. They eat fungus gnats that fly around your plants, and they will immediately trigger you to start singing the entire score of Little Shop of Horrors. So what's not to love, right? But I've definitely taken a Venus flytrap home before and quickly killed it. So I just interviewed Kenny from the International Carnivorous Plant Society for an in-depth episode on carnivorous plant care on my podcast. And I figured that I'd make a companion video kind of showcasing what I've learned from Kenny and how I'm going to apply it to my collection, because my goal is to not kill these carnivorous plants that I have selected to experiment. So this is kind of a learn alongside me type video instead of me just teaching you. Definitely go check out the International Carnivorous Plant Society education. They have their own YouTube channel and amazing blogs and resources. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to a wonderful local plant shop, Verdant Life. I was running around all of the different areas in my local town looking for carnivorous plants, and I could only find this Nepenthes. I had to shoot this video in a week. I was looking around and I found this plant shop, Verdant Life. They're in Coral Springs. They're amazing, and they actually sell like 11 different types of carnivorous plants. I bought this carnivorous plant trio from them: a pitcher plant, a Sarracenia, a sundew, and a Venus flytrap. They found out I was doing this video and they sent me a few extra plants. So thank you guys if you're ever in Coral Springs, or go visit them, and you can order plants online. But I love finding local, woman-run plant shops that I can support. So shout out. Okay, so first, what is a carnivorous plant? What makes a plant carnivorous? Great question. Kenny told me a carnivorous plant is a type of plant that has evolved to obtain some or most of its nutrients by trapping and digesting animals, primarily insects and arachnids. These plants have developed specialized adaptations to lure, attract, capture, digest prey. Very interesting. They're very smart. So in this interview with Kenny, which by the way, highly recommend you go listen to the podcast, he mentioned that there are three primary characteristics that define carnivorous plants. So one is their ability to lure and attract prey. Carnivorous plants have developed various strategies to lure their prey. This could be various colors, the way that pitchers kind of lure them in. Then they digest their prey. So once the prey is captured, they have the ability to digest it either through digestive enzymes like in the bottom of a pitcher, or with like bacteria that help them break it down. And then they benefit from the digestion. So they benefit by being able to absorb the nutrients gained. That's often why they don't need nutrient-rich soil, because they can get nutrients from the bugs that they eat. So the plants have adapted differently, so let's go over the different type of plants. So first, let's talk about the Venus flytrap. Obviously, this is the most famous one. The Latin name is Dionea muscipula, and it's known for its jaw-like structure. So it lures the plant in, the jaws close. We all know the Venus flytrap. It's very popular in society. There's so much more to this plant that Kenny does a deep dive on, but this is the Venus flytrap. Then there's two different types of pitcher plants. There are the tropical pitcher plants, which is the Nepenthes. That's this. They have this modified leaf that has a deep fluid-filled cavity that lures the bug in. And then there's the North American pitcher plant, which is actually called the Sarracenia. This is the Venosa red variety. Once again, it has these pitchers, these modified leaves, but the Sarracenia grows upward, where the Nepenthes has a leaf that then the pitcher comes off on this beautiful little stem. But they both have such glorious colors, this lime green into the red. It makes me want to dress this color. What next do we have? Sundews. Sometimes they're called Cape sundews. Their Latin name is Drosera. So these plants have glandular hairs on their leaves that secrete a substance that captures the insects. If your Drosera doesn't have the substance, the stickiness, it's probably not getting enough light, and this will flower. It actually has a little flower spike on here. I'm curious if it will flower, or maybe being in transit, the flower will fall off. And then last but not least, there's also butterworts, which are called pinguicula, and it also has those sticky leaves. So those are different types of carnivorous plants that you might see and use as an indoor houseplant. Let's dive into care. So number one, watering. Your carnivorous plants are gonna drink fancier water than the water that you drink. They need reverse osmosis or distilled water. They are very sensitive to any type of like tap water. So don't water them with tap water them with distilled water, reverse osmosis water, or rainwater. When it comes to light, this is where most people tend to kill their plants. You bring a carnivorous plant home and then you don't give it enough light. Like the Venus flytrap needs super, super, super bright light. Nepenthes need pretty bright light. The more light you give these plants, the more beautiful the pictures will get, the more beautiful the plant will get, the larger it will get. So a lot of people tend to underlight these plants, which tends to be an issue. Now, the other issue that a lot of people have is that they end up planting, they take these, a Venus flytrap or a pitcher plant home, and they plant it up in its normal organic soil. So carnivorous plants, because they get nutrients from the prey, they like to live in nutrient dense, I guess, nutrient light soil. So on my conversation with Kenny, we dive into like different soil substrates for each carnivorous plant. But for the Venus flytrap, the Droseras, and the Sarracenia, I'm going to plant these up in a combination of 50% long fiber sphagnum moss and 50% perlite. The other thing is these plants don't like to dry out. So Kenny suggested that when I pop them up, I put them in a tray of water that always has some water in it. So the bottom of the soil will always stay moist and it will, through capillary action, keep this moss moist. You don't want the moss to dry out. That's when you'll kill your plants. Then the Nepenthes is getting potted separately in a peat, moss, perlite mix, but the Nepenthes will not go in a dish of water. He said to let the Nepenthes dry out a little bit more. One thing I forgot to say regarding light. So he said to keep your grow light on for like 12 hours on, 12 hours off. That's exactly what I do with my green wall. All of these carnivorous plants are going in the top portion of my green wall. That's a high light area. And I'm hoping that they will be able to lure, trap, and digest any rogue pests that come in for my green wall. So I thought, obviously this is already repotted, this gorgeous pitcher plant. So beautiful. So why don't I just pop that up here for now? And then let's pot up the remaining plants. So like I said, it's 50% long fiber sphagnum, 50% perlite. So it's both aerated and super moisture retentive. It will retain a lot of moisture. She sent me two Droseras, the Cape sundews. So I'm gonna put these sundews together. Then I'm gonna put, come here, little guys. The Venus flytraps, and then this pitcher in the backfill, and we will be good to go. They obviously have very delicate leaves, so I'm doing my best to be delicate with them, but. While I'm repotting these, I wanted to also tell you the International Carnivorous Plant Society has really cool animated videos for beginner carnivorous plant parents that talk about like how to feed a Venus flytrap, how to care for plants indoors, how to care for them outdoors. So if you're interested, like I said, I am not a carnivorous plant expert. I am a carnivorous plant curious person, and I'm very excited to learn more after being very inspired by this episode. All right, now that I've planted up these plants and I can't get all the perlite out of my hair, let's just top water the plants to let them settle in. That water will also trickle down to the bottom of the saucer, and the saucer will keep distilled water in it. The only other thing is for feeding. Now, that International Carnivorous Plant Society has a great YouTube video on how to feed Venus flytraps in particular. Ideally, the plants will trap a fly or a bug once a week, but if you've noticed that a plant hasn't had flies or bugs, Kenny said that you can get dried bloodworms. I got these in the fish section of the pet store. They're just 100% freeze-dried bloodworms. He said what you do is you take a couple couple of the worms and you rehydrate them with the distilled water, and you make a little like meatball. And then with tweezers, you can take the meatball and put it in the pitcher or put it in the fly trap or on top of the leaf. So I'm going to see, there's definitely some flies flying around. So I'm going to see if they can just catch things organically. But I do have the bloodworms, and I will probably give them a feed in a week if I don't see any plants, any bugs on the leaves or anything like that. So I'm excited, plant friends. I'm excited to see how it goes. Like I've said, I have not been successful with carnivorous plants before, but I feel more empowered with Kenny's really great insight. Go listen to that episode on carnivorous plants on the Growing Joy with Plants podcast. It's very in-depth. Go check out the International Carnivorous Plant Society YouTube, and also special thanks again to Verdant Life. You can definitely order that trio online if you want. And until next time, I hope you keep growing joy.